Class from Marion County Fire District Number 1. Patrick Anderson has been a career firefighter-paramedic for 6 years, following his completion of both the Chemeketa Fire Suppression and paramedic programs. A cadet lieutenant during his time in Class 46, Anderson was a program favorite for quick wit and quiet wisdom, both of which will be on display here today. To all gathered here, please welcome to the stage, Patrick Anderson.
Okay, so a cop, a firefighter, and a paramedic all die and go to heaven, right? St. Peter at the pearly gates says, "Why should I let you guys in?" They all say the same kind of thing, you know, public servants did good work on earth, all of that kind of stuff. St. Peter says, "Okay, I'll let you guys in, but you got to do one more thing for me. You got to count to 10. So the cop goes first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you count any higher? But all I ever needed to know was that 6 bullets go in my gun. All right. So the paramedic goes next. Now, bear in mind, this is a very old joke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, going in. Firefighter goes last. Can you count to 10? Sure. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. St. Peter's flabbergasted. His jaw drops. Can you count any higher? Sure. Jack, Queen, King, Ace. So I'm reminded of an old saying. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And on this day, I say congratulations, because you guys have all completed the first step in a journey that will potentially continue for the rest of your lives. I remember when I graduated from Chemeketa's fire program, I felt that I had achieved something important, a major stepping stone in my life and in my career. And I'd achieved something greater than myself. And to all of you, I say that yes, you have achieved something very important, and you should all be very proud. With that being said, I will emphasize that this is the first of many steps. You're going to go forward and you are going to compete for jobs in potentially the most competitive career field in this entire country. I recently read an article stating that someone had a greater chance of winning the lottery than being hired as a Seattle firefighter. For those of you who don't know the numbers, Seattle Fire had about 6,000 applicants when they last hired. Portland Fire usually has about 5,000, and the city of Los Angeles had 13,000 applicants. I tell you these numbers not to discourage you. I am simply emphasizing that the road ahead is going to be challenging, and that in certain cases, you will fall. But as a great man once said, it is important that you fall forward and don't look back. So the road ahead will be challenging. There will be a lot of competition. You'll take a lot of tests, and until everything falls into place just so, you will get a lot of thanks but no thanks letters. A couple of friends of mine had a wall in their old apartment dedicated only to posting those letters. And by the time they both got hired, they pretty well filled up that wall. So I emphasize, as most of you probably already know, it is not the number of times that you fall down that counts, but the number of times you get back up and you keep moving. I've already said that you've taken your first step. This education, this degree, sets you apart from so many of the people you will be competing against. It shows that aside from whatever previous experience you may have had in the field, through volunteering or otherwise, you are dedicated to making this a career. You all had a reason when you submitted your application to Chemeketa's fire program. You wanted to be a firefighter for the rest of your life. So right now, I'd like you to think about that reason and remember it. And that goes for everyone in the room, whatever your calling may be. There was a reason that you wanted to do it. So I'd like you right now to reflect on what drove you, what compelled you, what motivated you. And with that in mind, I'd like to share with you a few thoughts I had when thinking about what I wanted to say to this class. So, I'd like to share with you a story that a friend and mentor of mine told me a long time ago. And it was about the first time that his mother-in-law had to interact with the fire service. So it was a warm day back in the mid-1950s, and my friend's mother-in-law was doing her typical June Cleaver routine, cleaning the house, when she smelled something burning. And so she did a quick search of the house, and she saw some smoke coming out of her basement door, and so she got on the phone, called the local firehouse, directly, mind you, there was no 911 system back then, and called the firefighters. So they got on the rig, came to her house, and with a pressurized water extinguisher, they were able to easily put out the box of oily rags that had caught on fire in her basement. So she was very apologetic. She apologized for calling them for such a little thing and wasting their time, and they said, no, you're not wasting our time. This is what we're here for. We're happy to do it. So they got back on the rig, they went back to the firehouse, and they probably never gave it a second thought. But in her later years, my friend's mother-in-law used to love telling that story about the time the firefighters came to her house and how courteous and kind they were. And so I say to you, the smallest, most insignificant call that you never give a second thought to can end up affecting someone for the rest of their lives. Well, you let that sink in. I remember well something that a visiting chief said in a speech to my paramedic class, and that was that if he looked up the world's best firefighter, paramedic, nurse, electrician, whatever, then your picture should be next to it. That made me think. We always strive in this field, in any field for that matter, to improve, to do something better than we did before. And so I counter that no one is the best. We all have different skill levels. You may think you're the best, but you will never know the true extent of your abilities until you meet someone who is better at them than you are. And when you do, learn from them and improve yourself further. Strive for excellence, but never be complete. Know that there is always something that you can improve on. Reputation is important in the fire service. The same chief I referenced before said that if you leave someone with a negative impression, they will tell at least 5 people about it. If you leave someone with a positive impression, they may tell 2 people about it. This goes for the agency, the crew, and most importantly, the individual. Remember that you have the opportunity every day to make somebody's day better. And this goes for the elderly person you put back into bed at 3 a.m., the family whose dog you saved from a house fire, and even making a little kid's day in the grocery store by giving them a sticker. Your reputation starts the minute you turn in your application. So make sure that it's a positive one, and that it makes the crew members of the agency you want to work for think, they understand what this is all about. I want that person on my crew. With that in mind, remember that everything that you do will have your name on it. Everything from a handshake to fighting a fire to making a pot of coffee in the morning. You will never stop being watched, and those things will define you. I have said it once, and I will say it a million times over. This job is about people. A fire department is not its fire stations, its apparatus, or its logo. It is its people. And how those people interact with the public and with each other will determine its effectiveness, its professionalism, and its all-important reputation. These people will become your second family, and earning their trust is paramount. After all, you will have to trust them with your life, and they will have to trust you with theirs. There was an old tradition at Chemeketa that a friend and mentor of mine passed on. On day 3 or 4 of recruit weekend, he would take a $5 bill out of his wallet, and he would tape it on one of the posts in the bay at Station 8, right by the door into the dorm. He would make a speech about how that was his $5. Not your mother's $5, not your father's $5, not your shipmate's $5, his $5. He would say that if he was going to trust you with his life and with his equipment, then he would leave that $5 taped to the wall, and he could trust that no one would mess with it. And if at any point you needed $5 so badly that you were even considering taking it, all you had to do was come to him, and it was yours. But until then, it stayed put. If nothing else, it should gain interest. And in certain cases, people would tape their pocket change up there and it would gain interest. Now, if that doesn't sum it up perfectly, I don't know what does. Be confident in your ability, but do not get full of yourself. You are there to serve others. Be humble. By that token, since you've all been thinking about why you got into this business in the first place, you thought I forgot about that, didn't you? I'd like to imagine that for the most part, there was a drive, a calling, something deep inside that motivated you to serve others. And that is what this is all about. Being the best you can be for the people that you serve. To go the extra mile and work hard, not for the mere purpose of getting hired, but because it is the right thing to do. Empathy and compassion are key factors in this. Taking that a step further, there is an old saying in the business, it's not your emergency. This is intended, in my mind, to help someone put difficult calls into perspective, and for a green responder, to help them disconnect the emotional part of their brain and think logically about how to approach an emergency. Fair enough. Sometimes we need to disconnect our brain and be able to just do our job. But I counter that saying is not true. It is your emergency. The people you serve called on you to mitigate the problem. They are having the worst day of their life. They feel that they are no longer in control of their situation. So their problem is now your problem. With that being said, it is not enough to simply go through the motions and mitigate the problem. Like I said before, this job is all about people and treating everyone that you meet with empathy and with compassion is to show them that you care enough that you want to make their day better. Not just fix the problem, but to make their day and potentially their life better. If you approach the job with this attitude, you will find fulfillment in your work. I guarantee it. So let me sum up by saying that this is not Backdraft, this is not Ladder 49, and it is absolutely not Rescue Me. You pull half of the stuff the idiots on that show pull, you will not have a very long career in the fire service, believe me. Remember that Pendleton needs firefighters just as much as Portland does. Honor those that have given the ultimate sacrifice and died in the line of duty by learning from their mistakes. Remember that there is room enough in the fire service for everyone, no matter who they are or where they came from. As General Patton once said, if everyone's thinking exactly the same thing, nobody's really thinking at all. Wherever you go in life, there you are. So make it better because you're there. Thank you.